Whistler. They call it beautiful British Columbia, and we completely understand why. Coming from two U.S. travelers who have seen our fair share of different mountain ranges, the tall mountains that surround the town of Whistler are sure to amaze you. We're Jake and Emily, the two roaming souls. We travel full-time in our camper van to find the top things to do in each city or town we visit. Whistler is renowned as one of North America's best ski resorts. But in summertime, you will notice what seems like just as many mountain bikers ready to tackle the insane terrain this mountain has to offer. But if you're not a mountain biker like us, there are still loads of amazing things to do here. So here are our top 10 things you must do when visiting Whistler.
Garibaldi Lake and Panorama Ridge. This hike will certainly take your breath away. With the bright blue water and glacial views, it's one of the most stunning hikes in the area. The round-trip hike to Garibaldi Lake is a moderate 18 kilometers with 975 meters of elevation change. Then you can add on Panorama Ridge, an additional 13 kilometers with 700 meters of elevation. While both of these hikes can be done as a day hike, we highly suggest doing it as an overnight backpacking trip. We felt a 3-day, 2-night trip allowed us plenty of time for swimming and relaxing at the lake, and the rewarding climb up to the top of Panorama Ridge. And for a glacial lake, we were actually pretty surprised that it was comfortable for swimming. Garibaldi Provincial Park requires permits for overnight backpacking and free day-use permits in the summer. Check out our latest video where we break down everything you need to know about this stunning backpacking adventure.
River of Golden Dreams. Floating this stretch of river right through the heart of the valley is a classic Whistler summer adventure. We absolutely love finding lazy river floats wherever we can, and this one really has exceptional beauty. But this float trip is not exactly lazy, as there is a portage section where you need to transport your boat to another put-in location, and depending on the water levels, the put-in spot differs. The shortest portage is just on the other side, but during early season, the water can be ripping through really fast, or in the later summer months, can be shallow enough to continuously scrape the bottom of your boat. The float starts from Alta Lake and meanders into Green Lake. You can expect this trip to take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. And look out for black bears, as they can often be spotted along the shores eating some berries. And since this trip isn't the most straightforward adventure, we created the perfect guide on our channel to help walk you through everything you need to know about this paddle. Or you can always check out our blog for more details.
Ride Up The Gondola. Like we mentioned earlier, Whistler Blackcomb is certainly best known for its epic skiing terrain, but luckily, even summer visitors can ride the gondola up the mountain for incredible views, hikes, restaurants, and more. And then you can ride the longest stretch of free-hanging gondola in North America. But if you're terrified of heights, you might want to skip this one. A gondola ride costs 99 Canadian dollars, but if you're an Epic Pass holder, you can use your pass here to ride up for free in the summer.
Okay, so one little tidbit is if you have an Epic Local Pass and you want to use it in the summertime, you actually have to buy your winter pass and then use it the summer before. So we learned that the hard way. So just letting you know, if you do want to buy an Epic Pass for the winter season for any of the Vail resorts, you do need to buy your pass, and then the summer before is the only time you can use it. You can't use it post-summer. So, good little tip.
There's actually a ton of awesome things to do once you make it to the top. If you aren't scared of heights, ride up the Peak Express to the Cloudbreaker Sky Bridge, a suspension bridge spanning the cliffs at the top of the mountain.
Honestly, this is pretty terrifying.
And you can also walk out on Raven's Eye viewing deck. And don't worry if you hated the suspension bridge, you can always just walk the trail back instead. There are also tons of hikes around here. Our favorite was the High Note Trail, which can be done as a loop. The hike is 9.4 kilometers with 420 meter elevation change. We chose to do the loop clockwise, but we would honestly suggest going counterclockwise instead, so you're facing the lake the entire route. Which also means you might want some hiking poles to save your knees, because you will be descending for most of the hike. You get jaw-dropping views of Cheakamus Lake, and then come around to the other side witnessing Symphony Lake and Harmony Lake. It's important to note, this hike needs to be completed within the gondola and chairlift hours, which is also another reason why you might want to go counterclockwise, because the gondola is open for an additional hour. You don't want to make the same mistake we did, practically sprinting up the mountain to catch the last chairlift down.
Man, that was a tough climb. I'm ready to take that gondola.
And after you're done exploring, grab a well-deserved beverage from the Umbrella Bar, possibly the best place to admire the mountain views. And honestly, we found the prices to be pretty affordable for being at the top of a Vail Resorts mountain. They do last call an hour before the last gondola ride. Check out Whistler's website to find other hikes in the area. And really, you don't even have to hike since you're so high up you get incredible views from almost anywhere. You can also ride the Peak to Peak Express, which connects Blackcomb and Whistler Mountain. This was both terrifying and incredible to ride, as it is the longest free span between towers and holds the record of the highest point above the ground. Take in the incredible views, but maybe just don't look down too much.
Visit a lake park. Whistler has an abundance of awesome lake parks in the area. Our personal favorite was Rainbow Park. There were just epic views of the mountains, and the water was honestly perfect. Not too warm, but still refreshing. The weather was really hot when we visited, like 35 degrees Celsius, so it was almost necessary to go for a swim to cool off. Unfortunately, this area is known to have swimmer's itch, so check recent reviews. I'm sure people will leave a comment if they go home itchy. There's also a cold shower on shore that you definitely should use as soon as you get out of the water. Some other great parks in the area are Lakeside Park and Wayside Park, which are actually just located across the lake, or Lost Lake, which is known to have the warmest water. But you will need to get the free shuttle in town, as there's no parking near the lake. And lastly, there's also Green Lake, but parking around this lake can be pretty challenging, and it's known to be the coldest of all of them.
Go biking or watch some world-class mountain bikers. Whistler is known as a mecca in the mountain biking scene. It honestly felt like there were more people with bikes than without. There are many ways to have fun on wheels here, from extreme downhill and bike parks to mellow paved trails and everything in between. If you're a beginner, check out the Fitzsimmons area. Be sure to check the trail map because this area still has a wide variety of trails for different ability levels. Or if you're looking for something more chill, you can rent a cruiser or e-bike and ride along the Valley Trail. And if it lines up with your trip, Crankworks is a massive biking festival that takes place here every July. And if you ride the gondola up, you can witness some world-class mountain bikers. It's really amazing to see.
Purebread. You can't visit Whistler without grabbing a delicious baked good and coffee from Purebread. And you know it's a popular spot when the line is out the door.
Oh, there's no menu. It's like window shopping. Whoa, look at all these delicious pastries. Oh crap, it's my turn to order. Wait, I haven't even seen everything yet.
So, with a line of people behind us, we basically panic-picked a few items. But happy to report that everything was delicious. So I don't think you can go wrong no matter what you choose. But I wish the setup gave a little bit more time to make a choice.
Suspension Bridge and Train Wreck. One of the best easy hikes in the area is to the Suspension Bridge and Train Wreck. Follow the flat, well-maintained path for 2.6 kilometers. You can walk inside the train cars and even climb on top. And the combination of urban graffiti on metal with beautiful nature surrounding is a neat clashing of worlds. The story behind the wreck is quite interesting. On the day of the accident, the train was behind schedule, transporting lumber from Lillooet to Vancouver. To make up for lost time, the crew doubled the train speed, and when they reached a narrow curve, the force was too much for the cars and 12 boxcars derailed. Interestingly, the wreck site you'll visit isn't actually the scene of the accident. The unsalvageable boxcars were moved here by a local logging company, hired to quickly clear the tracks and resume operations.
Brewery hopping. If you've watched our videos for any amount of time now, you know we've visited a ton of breweries. And Whistler has 3 awesome breweries to explore. You can pop into High Mountain Brewing Co. when you are doing some adventures in town. With a great outdoor patio in the resort center, it's perfect for having a drink close to all the action. Be sure to hit it during happy hour to snag some great deals on their flagship beers and small bites. The other 2 breweries, Coast Mountain Brewing and Whistler Brewing, are located in the Function Junction area. They're right next to each other, so if you have a designated driver, you can easily visit both in one trip. We loved the beer from both spots, but Coast Mountain Brewing had a few more that were right up our alley. Plus, don't miss out on the tasty pizza at Whistler Brewing.
Grey Goose Ice Room. This may be one of the most unique bars you'll ever go to. It does require reservations, so be sure to book this in advance. This unique liquor tasting room is located in the Barefoot Bistro. Step into the ice bar and sample 4 of their many vodkas. And despite the Grey Goose branding, you can try vodkas from many different distilleries. The bar is negative 32 degrees Celsius. When you chill vodka to sub-zero temperatures, it changes the taste and viscosity, and ultimately takes that sting away. I know it's probably hard to imagine, but it's science. Our personal favorite was the espresso vodka. Like probably the only vodka I've ever wanted to sip and let the flavors linger on the palate a bit.
L Furniture Warehouse. Are you looking for that perfect new couch? Just kidding, this is just a restaurant with a really weird name. Obviously, there are tons of restaurants in Whistler, but one that really stood out to us was L Furniture Warehouse. Among the dozens of expensive resort town restaurants, we were shocked to find a local joint that still serves up tasty food for a reasonable price. Everything here is $10.95 CAD or less, so if you're looking for a cheap place to eat, this place fits the bill. They even have some good vegan and vegetarian options, and a great selection of tasty cocktails and local beers. Honorable mention. Check out the event schedule in Whistler Olympic Plaza. They have tons of free concerts and movie nights. And there are honestly so many incredible hikes in this area. Here are a few other hikes you should add to your Whistler list if you have time.
Joffrey Lakes. This hike is one of the most majestic lake hikes in the area, but it's not exactly in Whistler. It's about a 55-minute drive up a mountain pass, but all on pavement. We found this hike to be relatively easy, with the exception of one tough climb up some stairs. What makes this hike especially unique is you get to see 3 stunning lakes in one hike. It's great for day hiking or overnight backpacking, but both require permits, so just be sure to plan ahead and get those on the BC Parks website. And if you have a paddleboard and are willing to carry up the weight, this is one of the most epic places to ride a paddleboard. But do note, this water is frigid. It's glacial runoff after all, so if you're not a good swimmer, you will want to have a life jacket.
Chigamus Lake Hike. You know the lake we were staring at from the top of High Note Trail? Well, there's actually an easy 7.7 kilometer hike to the lake. And this also could be a really fun spot to hike in a paddleboard or an inflatable kayak.
Wedgemont Lake and Tupper Lake. Wedgemont Lake should really be on your list if you're a fit and experienced hiker. This hike is very challenging. It's 15.4 kilometers and 1,500 meters elevation climb. But the views of this glacial lake are absolutely breathtaking. You can also backpack here too. Very hard work with a heavy pack, but you're rewarded with some of the most scenic tent sites we've ever seen.
Brandywine Falls. Another easy hike in the area is Brandywine Falls. It didn't quite make the list because even the sanctioned viewpoint has somewhat obscured views of the falls. But the hike is still worth it if you have the time, and walk to the end to get a nice view of Daisy Lake. And the hike is really just a flat, easy 1.1 kilometer trail. For more details on each of these top things to do, head over to our website, tworoamingsouls.com. We'll cover every spot in more detail, provide maps, accommodation, tours, and more. Thanks for coming along on another Two Roaming Souls adventure. Hit the thumbs up button to help our channel grow, and consider subscribing to never miss out on other great places to visit. Next week, we head over to Vancouver Island to share some of our favorite spots you must check out. Catch you on the next one!